Hey, what's up? Bryan here. Today I'm gonna be answering the question of how to play over that diminished chord right at the end of the jazz standard called Donna. On paper, if it was in A flat key, we would have a B diminished chord, and it's worth discussing what different ways we can look at the chord and perhaps some of the relationships that this particular diminished chord has with the rest of the chords. The reason why we want to do that is because a lot of the time our thinking or our concept behind our playing actually influences our playing a lot. It influences the sound that comes out. So here's just a quick example. I'm just going to loop that section, the last 8 bars, and I'm just going to play as it's written. So the B diminished, I'm going to be thinking B diminished and probably sounding a lot like B diminished. As you have heard, the lines on the diminished chord, pretty much diminished arpeggios, sounds okay. But what if I was to deconstruct the diminished chord and reveal a dominant chord behind it? For example, a diminished chord, you can voice it like this with shell voicing. You can even put in the F as well. With this chord, it actually looks like a dominant chord if you were to flatten the root note by a half step and it goes to B flat. That's a B flat 7 chord, B flat dominant. The reason why this chord I would view it as quite important in this tune is because it happens for quite a few times, for quite a long time as well. So every time the chord progression goes 1, 6, 2, it stays on the secondary dominant chord, so-called, the B flat 7 for 2 bars. So that's quite a distinctive feature of this tune, which is why now I can have a go at playing the last 8 again, but thinking of the B flat 7 when I'm on the B diminished and see how that sounds. I have to be quite careful there not to hit the actual B flat note when I'm on the B diminished, because that would be kind of like a wrong note, as the B flat is the 7th, the major 7th of the B diminished chord. But the rest of it sounded okay because it's pretty much the right chord tones. And I particularly liked the phrasing of a dominant chord when it's played like this. You can get more of that slide into the 3rd as well, as if you were playing a blues or something. So that's an advantage of it. And the disadvantage, like I said, would be you'd have to avoid certain notes when you're thinking that way. Another way you can think of it also stems from the B flat 7 chord. And now we're just going to think of that even further substitute that. What's the 2 chord that comes when the B flat dominant is a 5 chord? The answer will be the F minor, as if it was a 2/5 into an E flat. So if we have a 2/5 to the E flat, you've got the F minor, B flat 7, E flat, how about this time I'll have a go at improvising on it. When it comes to the B diminished chord, I'm gonna play F minor phrases. That also sounded fine, and in fact, the more transcribing that you do of the more traditional straight ahead kind of jazz, a lot of the time on a dominant chord, they will play its related minor chord. You can think of it from the perspective of a 2-5. So if the B flat is a 5, then the 2 that comes before it would be the F minor. Okay? The fact that they're so related means that the sound will probably be okay. Also, certain players might prefer the sound of a minor phrase compared with a dominant phrase. Perhaps minor sounds a bit more mean, a bit more cool, compared to a happy kind of dominant or major phrase. Or the other way to think of it would be thinking the 5th minor above. So if it's a B flat 7, you can count 5 steps up, and it's the 5th minor